that have fans. There's only one class so far. They were the freshmen last year that haven't been in a stadium with fans. So, when we get to the season, if we're playing, we play at Iowa State first away game. What we'll do is when we're practicing, we'll have these like the loudest speakers I've ever heard, like right behind us, pumping in crowd noise, so that we have to simulate as if it's a third down. At Iowa State, we have to use our silent counts and things like that. But right now, there's not much to prepare for right now in terms of that, just because most of us have been around the stadium with
For you personally, do you think it'll be a big change, or do you think it'll be right back as soon as, even if the crowd's in, if anything, it might pump you up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it more energetic. I think there's definitely, I have to, away games especially, you have to prepare for the noise and be ready to scream in the huddle and make sure communication's good. But this again, like I've been on road trips before, and I've seen it done. So it's more so just communication, things like that.
So right now,
you mentioned that you're looking at the first two tapes or first two games on tape. Indiana, great in secondary. Iowa State, great returning secondary. Is that almost helpful that you're playing teams that return so many players from great secondary, so you can really evaluate them now, as opposed to maybe a different opponent that either has not as many people returning, or maybe little about, or
totally, like especially if coordinators are returning too, which is kind of the biggest thing, because personnel can change week to week, injuries. Last year, COVID, there's guys that can miss games. But a coordinator, is the way he operates and the way he calls a defense. That's helpful. That returning coordinator. Last fall, Purdue had a new coordinator, so it's, when you're watching tape, it's kind of like we're watching the Nebraska game from 2017. We're watching stuff. I don't remember where he was at exactly. But that's more challenging than personnel. Because personnel you can get away with, but you have to, if you don't know the scheme they run, it's challenging.
When your numbers kind of divided up. If you release the ball quickly, you're really accurate. After I think 2.5 seconds, the completion percentage drops quite a bit. Is there something specific you can attribute to that? Is it just being able to get your second, third reads, or is there something?
It's kind of a play-to-play thing. I mean, like a hitch is going to get out of my hands pretty fast. It's a pretty easy ball to complete. But it's not an exact science. Those numbers are good, but I'd have to look at every play specifically. It's hard to kind of judge. But I think it's a general rule. If I get the ball out of my hands fast, it's good for offense. There's not going to be as much in the pocket to worry about, because once you get around late twos, early threes, someone probably on the line might start breaking down, or things like that. Like the faster you get the ball around, it's going to be better. That means it's on time. As a receiver's breaking or before he breaks, that's usually around that. Depending on the route, but early two, maybe mid two if it's a real drop back. So.
You said at the beginning of spring ball, I think it was, you spent a lot of time watching Mac Jones in particular, because the offenses are a little more translate a little bit better than a few others. What did you see specifically that you could pick up and maybe learn from, or try to incorporate, or at least stylistically, that he made him so successful?
Yeah, I just think the biggest thing he did, and everyone, a lot of people, no problem. A lot of people credit all of his success to his supporting cast, which, not that it didn't have an impact, but the thing he did is that, no matter what they were running, he was delivering an accurate ball on time, to where these playmakers could catch the ball in stride and run and make a play. And without that, Devontae Smith is not Devontae Smith. He's not making that next play because he's having to stop for a ball or dive or whatever it is. And then conceptually, there's some things like X's and O's wise that I looked at, but a lot of it's just the way he plays. This is kind of the type of balls he throws. He has a lot of really nice touch throws that, again, allow receivers to run through it and make that next extra 15 yards or whatever it is. So I'd say those are probably the biggest things.
How do you process criticism?
The way I look at it, if those that I respect and that I work with on a daily basis believe in me and support me, then any exterior noise is kind of irrelevant. You know, I understand. I was under Nate for a little bit. I've seen. I've obviously experienced my fair share of criticism, and but again, if my teammates respect me and love me, and my coaches the same way, if they respect me and think I'm doing a good job, that's all I can ask for.
Does it motivate you? Do you ignore it? Do you try not to see it? It's probably hard these days to not at least get some of it.
Yeah, I try my best to like get social media off my phone when the season starts, because even like the guy that lets if a great game and you go look and everyone's saying you're the best, if you let that impact your ego in a positive way, when things don't go well, your ego's going to do the opposite, right? And like as a quarterback, it's my job to kind of ride the wave and stay pretty mild throughout it all, and not let anything get me too high or too low. So I think looking at either criticism or praise either way is just not, it's a net negative. Like it's not going to help me, even if it's everyone thinks I'm the best. And then again, I don't care. Like who? No offense, you guys are writers. If my coaches think I'm doing a great job, that's a different story, right? My teammates think I'm doing a great job, that's a different story. But fans, writers, it's. Yeah, not exactly my. I don't spend
No offense taken.
Yeah.
Building off of that last response, where would you compare to your confidence and your comfortability this year compared to where you were a year ago?
I think I have a year under my belt as a starter, so definitely more confident and more comfortable because I've done it before. Last year before the season, it's kind of like I played football before, but I never played at a Big Ten level really, and now I've done that, so certainly more confident, more comfortable because I know what it's going to feel like to go out there and get hit, go out there and throw a touchdown, that kind of thing. So,
when you look at your growth, would you say that you've made more strides physically or mentally from the end of last season to now?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess right now, physically, because that's like really the only thing I can measure. I've certainly learned a lot about a lot of stuff, X's and O's, that kind of thing, but decision making. But I guess you do that to make better decisions on the field. So I'm sure I'll see my progress week one, but physically I have made a lot of strides and I feel good about it.
Text Hawk every once in a while, but that's about it.
What does he give you as advice?
So my freshman year in the springtime before COVID hit, we were in the film room a lot. He was recovering from his broken ankle from his rookie season, so I picked his brain a little bit in the film room.
What kind of progress have you seen from Spencer?
He's a general on the field, and he's a very vocal leader, which is great for some of the younger guys on our team. He's always bringing them along and making them the best version of themselves. So, yeah, I'd say he's the most vocal guy on the field, and I love it.
Do you see him this summer? You guys are doing 7-on-7s and stuff. Have you seen that jump too?
Yeah, I think so. More reps is always critical, and just getting more practice with him, and just over and over. The reps it's the most critical thing, really. Yep.
That's a position that is right with criticism.
Definitely.
How does he handle that? How do you
He
see
handles it very well. I think he kind of has the chip on his shoulder mentality where like it fuels him to sometimes you don't want to look at the things that people say about you, but you still catch wind of them.
Yeah.
And I think it fuels a lot of us. So him especially.
How have you developed physically since you've been here, and how has that translated maybe to, being a better blocker, or just having that strength out there?
We work on our lower body a lot in the weight room, so I felt like transferring all that energy from my lower body into another human, basically, and moving them where I want to move them. I think just growing with maturity, I'm growing in age, and I think I'm growing in stature and strength with the help of the strength coaches and everything. So I feel like I became a better blocker.
How much weight have you put on just from mass?
In my 2 years here, I've probably put on 15 pounds. Yeah, about 15 pounds.
So it's not really more of a weight thing? Is it more strength?
More of a strength thing and maturing, and also my technique, leverage and things like that you have to be beaten into with coaching and things. So,
How have you gotten better just in terms of routes? Because obviously you played receiver in high school, so it's probably different, tree and like that for you.
I was telling Tom, the speed of the game has slowed down a lot for me, which has tremendously helped me. Also, just the Big Ten is such a physical conference compared to transferring from high school football to the Big Ten. So I've learned how to adjust to the speed of the game and the physicality of it, and I think that's helped me running my routes.
Thanks, sir.
When you to go into that first game you played, which was in Minnesota, and it was like 24 degrees and snow everywhere, and thinking somebody's got to try to do something athletic with right coming off mono. That's not really, it's not 75 and sunny. How kind of toll did that take on you, at least that first day and that weekend?
I mean, just coming back, it was just an adjustment, just getting back in the swing of things. I mean, adversity is going to come your way. It's just how you respond to it, and just looking at it not as a victim, not as like that perspective, just looking at it as like how I can build off this, how I can grow, how I can learn. So just having a positive mindset going in, and realizing that not everything's going to be perfect right away, and then I just got to keep working on things, and then things are going to start clicking. And I just, a lot of like the linebackers really helped me, just like kind of brought me along and just kept my attitude positive as well. So I owe a lot to those guys as well. And the coaches were so good to me, like I said earlier, and that just helped too.
Well, I just meant in terms of like breathing, because if you're coming off a cold, it's hard to breathe. Oh my.
Yeah, I say my physical, my body. I mean, I was fine. Yeah, so that's fine.
I got you. I saw a picture or heard about you in practice one time with like this completely mangled face mask, and you're still in practice. How did that all go?
Yeah, that was during spring ball, and I was coming on a blitz, and me being not the smartest guy was up a little too high, and I mean I was not going to stop, and me and this running back hit head on, and he hit my face mask. My face mask like caved in the other way, and like hit me in the face. But,
which one was it? Was it Monty or?
It was Gavin.
Oh, okay. And you just, of course, kept playing, right?
I mean, yeah, you just go get it. I mean, at that point, my helmet was just messed up. It was near the end of practice, so I just got a new face mask on there.
I know you said you don't care about. Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes we don't care about you.
Yeah. No,
But as far as you're considered maybe one of the guys that's going to take that big jump nationally, and as well as on this team. Do you think you can make that leap and be one of the best players in the country at your position?
I mean, I feel like I just got to keep doing what I've been doing, and just take it one day at a time, and not look into the future or look a week ahead or even into the season. Just taking it one day at a time and just really working on all the things that like the coaches are telling me to work on and what I can see, and just trusting that, and then just taking it one day at a time. I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing. And, I mean, I feel like. As long as you buy into this process that Coach Braithwaite in the weight room and Coach Wallace on the field, and Coach Ferentz's overall program, I feel like if you just buy into that, like it'll all work out.
How does it feel physically? I mean, it obviously feels different.
Yeah, ultimately you don't really feel the difference because it just kind of happens because your whole body's growing, but I think you feel more powerful and you're able to move better. Yeah.
I remember recruiting. It was a tough decision for you to come here over South Dakota State because of your family. Do you think back of that at all and how things have kind of evolved for you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's just crazy how life happens, and definitely was a hard decision. My parents went there, my siblings went there, and my teammate Zach Hines is going there. But I think everything turned out for the best, and I love it here, and I would never change the decision for anything. And but yeah, it is fun to look back at that. Yeah.
What ultimately convinced you to come here? Was it something somebody said, or was it just? Who got to you that said you can't pass up on the Iowa opportunity?
I thought about it for a while. Obviously, with my family, friends, prayed about it. And, definitely the opportunity. And it was funny because I actually talked to Trad Greenway one time, and he was in the same exact situation, like him and I think it was Coach Stigmeyer at that time as well. And he just said, sometimes you got to take a leap of faith and just trust it. And that definitely helped reassure me. But yeah.
Do you ever have any second thoughts early when you first get to college and you're kind of like, whoa?
I think just being further away from home,
Yeah.
that was the big thing. But then once you get settled in, you meet people, then everything settles down from there. And then your parents are here for most of the fall games, and that definitely helps out a lot. But I wouldn't really ever say I second guessed it.
When you got here, did you feel like that you belonged? I mean, when you got here, did you feel like, okay, I belong at this level? Everybody was right. I should be here.
Yeah. I mean, right away you kind of get thrown in the fire, and I mean, everyone makes you feel welcomed, and if you mess up or something happens in that practice, the older guys were really good about coming and saying, you're good, you're young, you just keep going. That helped a lot.
You kind of moved around to some different linebacker spots.
Mm-hmm.
Has that helped you kind of learn the position, knowing the other spots?
Yeah, definitely. Like freshman year I started out at Leo.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year I think I went to Will, and then now third year I went to Mike, and definitely Coach Wallace always just says increase your value, and having more knowledge about the defense and what other guys are going to do just ultimately is going to help you out and play faster.
How's the linebacker core now? You guys kind of went through a transitional period last year. Jaimon sat out, and you had some different things going on. How do you feel like you guys are as a position right now?
I think I love the room. I love sitting in the linebacker room with all those guys. They're all great, and everyone works extremely hard, and that's all you can really ask for. Yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks, Seth.
Thank you.